Hey guys, what it do? Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and today I want to talk about Choujin X and actually the meaning of Choujin X in the first place. So in this chapter, we basically discover what it means. There's a few years ago, maybe 100 years ago, it doesn't really give us a perfect timeline. There was Choujin X, right? Who was a president, and all that Choujin X means is that they are either a calamity or heroes, but not in that simple terminology, but more so they have the power to impact the world largely in either one way or the other, right? Negatively or positively, but the power is crazy. The power is, you know, uh what you say, transcendent. The power is transcendent. They could be an absolute calamity, or they could lead the world forward through good deeds. And it's basically implied that Azumi Higashi is potentially the current Choujin X. They said there's one every 100 years or one every generation, and it seems very, very likely that he is that dude. One of the reasons is because his awakening was so violent and so powerful, and so unique that it's kind of like, wow, she was defeating experienced ass motherfuckers like he was beating motherfuckers like it's nothing, and we already know that without that he's already a beast anyway, right? He's already a beast regardless without that, and yet with it, without him being able to control his powers, he was out here annihilating everybody. And I feel like he'd be even stronger if he can control himself, because he was already beyond peak human just by himself before anything anyway. So that's what makes it really, really intriguing. I feel like his potential is on a different scale completely. I'm super excited to see what he does and where he goes and what his actions will be. And I like that he is, this super pivotal guy that's going to play probably the most important role in the story, in terms of like moving the plot forward, right? Sometimes, when you're talking about stories, you have characters that react, right, which is usually the protagonists, and then you have the characters that make them react, or the ones that cause the story to move forward. Those actions force the story forward, and those are usually the antagonists, right? For example, you start a movie and your character is training to be a hero, right? That on its own is kind of boring. Then let's say an ultimate enemy arises, right? And that enemy is the catalyst for the story to start, right? That enemy and their action is the catalyst for the story, right? Even though you've given this premises that this person wants to do this because of this, it's actually the enemy's action that creates a catalyst. You know what I'm saying? So for let's say Naruto, the main catalyst is Sasuke leaving. Sasuke leaving is the biggest catalyst for the story. And it permeates, that storyline permeates all the way to the very end of the series, and it's the conclusion of the story is solving that issue. You know what I'm saying? And obviously in between that you get other catalysts that push the story forward, because you can't just have him chasing Sasuke every fucking episode, right? So you have other enemies and other things happening. The Akatsuki being a major one. They're the catalyst for all of Shippuden, pretty much, right? Sasuke is still a semi catalyst, but the main catalyst is the Akatsuki, and that's how I look at storytelling. And in Choujin X, any being with Choujin, right, with crazy powers that can either be a calamity or help mankind, they have the opportunities to really, what can I say, to push. They have the opportunity to push the world one way or another, right? And then I think Tokyo, obviously he evolved as well during his fight with Azuma. I think he's gonna be super powerful as well, because Higashi always believed that Tokyo was more talented than him anyway, but Tokyo just didn't apply himself and was satisfied with following Higashi, or Zuma. But then I think, when Tokyo finally decided that, oh, I now have my own goal, which is to be a hero, that I think is pushing him now to be way stronger. But I still think, the Calamity is more than likely going to be the instigator of the main story. And I think it's more than likely going to be Higashi or Zuma. I think he's going to be the one that's going to cause a calamity one way or another. Actually, you know what would be super cool if they tweaked it and Tokyo was the one to become evil. But I really, really doubt it, simply because we've been following it through Tokyo's perspective for pretty much the whole story, the whole narrative. Him and Eli Ota, you know what I'm saying? So I think it'd be hard to do it any other way. To be honest, it'd be very hard to do it any other way. So that's what I'm thinking. But I'm glad that we got the explanation, because I didn't know who or what Choujin X was for a minute. Like, I was wondering. Like, I assumed it was Higashi. When I read the chapter where he transformed, I think that was like chapter 22, 21. I don't know, when he transformed and started rampaging, and he was absolutely annihilating Kagomura and Nari Tsumuji and even the people that kidnapped Tokyo. They kidnapped Tokyo, right? Who did they kidnap? They were looking for Tokyo. The people that were looking for Tokyo, right? I think that's what it was. Yeah, they kidnapped Tokyo, didn't they? Yeah, they kidnapped Tokyo. And, he felt bad because last time when, Tokyo had his problem, he didn't help at all. And he knew he was being selfish and a dick and a terrible friend. And he wanted to make up for that. So he went out his way and they killed him. And that's what caused his transformation. That's what caused his Choujin powers to awaken. Because he also injected. They both injected. So that was really cool. I really, really loved that. I love the relationship. And even the previous chapter, they were discussing and talking, and Higashi says that I want to be a hero with you. I want to be here working with you. And then in this chapter, when we find out about calamities and stuff like that, we basically find out about it mainly because of Higashi. And the teacher wanted to warn his students, like, yo, listen, there's calamities. And the teacher is Hoshi Sandek, and it was like, look, every generation has a calamity, and the last calamity, this is what they did. They could transform into weapons. Like, so they helped evolve technology 70 years ahead, military technology, because any weapon design, he can transform into it and wreak absolute havoc. And so he helped design crazy weapons so that he could become those weapons and just go out and kill people for the laugh of it, because he enjoyed it. He'd hunt for the fun of it. That was his sport. It seems like he was stopped eventually, but that's basically what happened. And he's warning his students that, like, look, this is probably what we're gonna face, so just be wary, like, be careful out here. It's dangerous type shit, you know what I mean? And Tokyo was there and Ellie was there, but Higashi wasn't there. Higashi was not there. So it's really interesting. I'm really excited to read it and see what's happening. I'm surprised we actually had 2 chapters on the trot. Normally it takes like a month, sometimes 2 months, because there's no release scheduled for it. So it's just when it drops, deal with it. That's basically what the author is doing, which is great, because no pressure. And I think more authors should do that, even though it's not great for a reading experience or whatever. But I think, you could always wait a year and read a bulk. Like, we wait for a season of TV shows every year, sometimes 2 years. We can wait for quality, manga, webtoon, comics, whatever. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I'm glad that they specified exactly what Choujin X means. So it's not necessarily a bad person or a good person. It's just somebody super powerful that impacts a generation, that has the power to shift the world one way or the other. Or society one way or the other. Anyways, it's been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God. Check out Choujin X if you have not yet. I'm out. Subscribe.